हाँ, वो तो है पीछे।
किसका किसका चल रहा है?
Dr. Vinod, have you joined?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
You have.
Yeah. I was just testing. I'll just pass on. I think the host controls are already with you. We'll just check. Yeah, they're with you now, sir. So we'll be starting in the next 2-3 minutes, sir.
Okay. So I'll just put my first slide, or is that fine?
Yeah, sure. You can start sharing the screen now.
Okay.
Good afternoon to one and all. I welcome all the participants here who have joined in for the second session of Infocus 2020, organized by Department of Electronics and Communication Oriental Group of Institutes, an institute with an institutional and education legacy of more than 25 years. So we had many sessions. We had 2 sessions yesterday, and we also had 1 session in the morning, and they were all different kinds of sessions. We had a session by Mr. J.P. Tiwari from Cisco Consultants, Bangalore, wherein which he discussed things about cybersecurity and its use post this pandemic crisis. We also had a session on Internet of Things, and in those we discussed it was a kind of a workshop and a hands-on session wherein we discussed the basics and the fundamentals of IoT and its implementation through Arduino. But yet we converged to the same point as to how we can use this technology of Internet of Things in this situation during this pandemic and post this pandemic crisis. In the morning itself, we had a different speaker, Mr. Praveen Singhal, who was an entrepreneur, and we all know that this pandemic crisis has affected entrepreneurship and startups as well in such a big manner. And here we are in the second session of day 2, and I'm very pleased to have with us Dr. Vinod, who's the head of robotics and automation engineering, PSG College of Technology. So I welcome you, sir. I welcome you, sir.
Thank you.
So he has been an avid researcher in this field and a very experienced person in the field. So I think I shouldn't be the right person who will be introducing him, and he should be he should be the one who will be introducing himself, having this many years of experience in this field. So I just hand over the host controls to Dr. Vinod. Sir, over to you.
Yeah. So thank you. Good afternoon. It's a pleasant privilege to be with you all. As Professor Ahmed said, let me introduce myself. So I'm Vinod, currently heading the Department of Robotics and Automation at PSG College of Technology, Coimbatore. This college is almost 60 years old and is a government-aided private institution. And I've been with this institution for the last 27 years. Initially, I was with their industry wing, where we used to make automated machines, CNC machines, and automation solutions for various applications. So later, I moved to the mechatronics diploma programs. We started the India's first diploma programs in mechatronics way back in 1996. Then in 2011, we started this undergraduate program of robotics and automation engineering. When we started, we were the first one in the state of Tamil Nadu to start such a program. But right now, I think about close to 20 institutions in the state are having this program. And all over India, I think that this B robotics and automation engineering is getting popular, and more industries have accepted the relevance of this program, the need for this program, and the graduates of this program are finding it extremely like finding a lot of job opportunities, so that they have a great future. So this course has been made with a great blend of theory plus practical, and it touches upon, as you know, robotics and automation has all the ingredients of the basic mechanical engineering. On top of that, you have the electrical, electronics, computer science, sensors, and control engineering built into it. So it's a very interesting program, and 6th batch is passing out this year. So we have been enjoying this journey. And in the process, along with the academics, we have been also doing several funded research projects, close to the tune of about 30 crore we have done so far. One of the project happens to be in the medical robotics field. So that's why accepted to Professor Ahmad that can talk something on medical robots. So I'll share our experience in this area because we were working as a team. We had an industry partner, L&T Technology Solutions, and this entire idea was inspired by a medical surgeon, Dr. Ramalingam. He's a very famous urologist of India. Then we also have international partners. Korea Advanced Institute of Science and Technology was a partner in that. So I will share some of my experiences working on that project also in this presentation. So presently we were all like saying pre-COVID and post-COVID. I'm not sure whether this post-COVID will be the new normal because life is changing, situations are changing. So probably that is going to be the new normal from this season onwards. So maybe that is how I'm privileged to get this opportunity to talk to you all. Probably if COVID was not there, I'm not sure whether we would be ever able to meet over such a platform and become friends. So several online programs are happening worldwide. So we are able to network much faster, much sensibly. So people who have the same frequency, we find a common platform to talk to each other, network with each other, and find new opportunities to work together. So hopefully this platform also will serve such a platform, such an opportunity where some of you, if you are interested in working on robotics or even medical robotics, huge opportunities are there worldwide, huge funding opportunities, industrial opportunities. So I think this will give some insight into what is in store for you in this particular field. Okay. So before I go to the medical robotics, I'll just give some introduction about robots. Robots is not a new term. I'm sure all of you know about robots. There are a lot of science fiction movies, science fiction novels where, in fact, the word robot itself is a very old one, coined back in 1900s, early 19, like 20s and 1940s. That was the period when this term, this Czech word, robota, became very famous, especially in science fiction novels through Mr. Isaac Asimov, also through some of the Russian on-stage dramas. So it became a dream for many of the people of those times to have robots. So basically, robots are assumed or defined as slaves for human beings. You might remember the three fundamental laws of robotics. You don't have to look at the textbooks, but if you have seen the movie I, Robot, you may be remembering the three laws. It is also stated. So basically, these laws are defined to protect the human beings. So a robot should never harm a human being. It should only obey the orders. So even now, the basic laws of robots stands the same. So industry was the first one to take up this concept, this robots. So during 1970s, like Puma, the first robot, industries, there were a lot of repetitive jobs, like picking and placing, putting it somewhere, sorting, loading to machines, where there were some countries where there were shortage of human beings to do this dangerous, repetitive, monotonous task. So they introduced industrial robots there. It evolved into 6 different configurations. Hope you remember about the 6 configurations, like from articulated to SCARA to the recent ones, the parallel kinematic. So the power transmission happens either serially or parallelly. So the ultimate objective is to do something with the support of the end effectors. So robots are used for pick and place, robots are used for welding, robots are used for painting, robots are used for inspection. Any task, any industrial task, you name it, robots are available. So this particular segment has been growing tremendously over the last 50 years. it has come to a stage that there is a big robotic market. Every country has its own robo manufacturers. Uh, there is robotic associations, industries. So it is a very common product in the market. Another group of robots, since that segment has become very much popular, industrial robots forms the first group. Second is the service robots. What do you mean by service robots? So it basically services human beings other than the industry. So when you say industry, the picture comes to our mind is a shop floor where manufacturing of automobiles or any kind of manufacturing, even food products, milk products, or bottling of like Pepsi or Coca-Cola, like any kind of bottling happens. Every industrial application now robots are employed. The second segment is totally different. It doesn't talk about the shop floor, but any other thing outside the shop floor. So it can be a hospital, it can be our even home, it can be a mobile robot, it can be on the wharf like defense, it can be for space, exploring space, underwater, or a mission to Mars or Moon, or like any other application other than industry. We call it as service robots. Why we put all these things in one basket? At one point of time, industry robots were the only robots and were very popular. A big chunk of the robots were in that basket. We thought the service robots are going to be very, very small in quantity, and it was quantified as service robots. But if you see today, I'll show you this one. Okay, this is a picture of the scenario of industrial robots, how it has been growing. The market size in billions of US dollars. So 2019, the estimated was 48.7 billion US dollars is the worth of this business, this industrial robotic business. And it is expected to grow continuously. And by 2024, the prediction is about 75.6 billion US dollars. So huge market, continuously growing. You can see the pre-COVID time, there was a small dip. It's not a dip, like several industries who used to make these robots. Again, human labor is used for that. And the customers, there was also a small break or a short break in the manufacturing that happened throughout the world during this period. But companies have opened, industries have started manufacturing again. There is an increased requirement for industrial robots because most of the governments, they don't want people to be crowded on a shop floor, very, very less number of people. And automation is the only solution. Like you can automate the process with automated process stations or robots for doing many of the tasks in an industry shop floor. So this will reduce the human workforce on the shop floor. It will improve the whole performance of the industry, the quality, the efficiency, the reliability. It can work 24/7 and more profits because most of the robots, the prices have come down now, and the return of investment happens over 2 to 3 years or even 6 months sometimes. That depends upon your process. So in that kind of scenario, more and more industries are going for robotization. I'm sure this post-COVID picture is going to change again because we expect a sharp increase in the number of the requirement of robots. Not only if you see the industrial robots, so far it has been happening only for large industries. So if you see 2019, the number of robots sold in India were about 3,000 pieces or 3,400 pieces. Whereas in China consumed about 140,000 robots in 1 year. you see the difference between the consumption rate of or the density of robots or the sales of robots compared to India and China. Both countries, in terms of its human like population density, we have large number of people in both countries. So there is, if you see the per capita of the requirements, we may say that China also has huge population, India also has population, but are we denying job opportunities for Indians? So it is a debatable question, but so far Indian market, this 3,000 or 4,000 per year consumption was mainly into the major manufacturing or big industries like automobiles, tire manufacturing, such kind of industries. But we are going to see a big difference. A lot of SMEs and MSMEs are going to have robots, because you know that during this COVID season, we saw a large shift of people traveling from different states. So most of the states in the southern India, we see a lot of shortage of workforce, because most of the workshops were supplied with manpower from other part of the country. So post-COVID scenario, I think this will come down. So industries, especially MSMEs and SMEs, will be looking for automation as a solution rather than going for more and more manpower. So again, so the graph may be again going up. So that is the scenario of industrial robots. And here again, another question, are we all, whether the Indian robots, the number 3,000 or 4,000, 95% of these robots were imported robots. The major suppliers like Fanuc, ABB, Kawasaki, so they used to supply the robots. But I think the next 6 months, India is going to see a big difference in the indigenous robot manufacturers. Already maybe a dozen of companies have started making robots in India. They have started selling in good numbers. So this scenario is going to be a good market potential for Indian robot manufacturers too. Coming to the service robot market. So I just told you that initially we had a feeling that service robots, that is robots that are not meant for industry shop floor, will have only very less consumers. But if you see this picture, the blue one shows the industrial robots, the gray one shows the service sector, and the total volume of blue and gray gives you the total robots sold worldwide. So if you, between 2016 and 2017, if you see, there is a growth compared to 2016, 124% of growth in the service robot market. Similarly, if you see for 2018 compared to 2017, 61% of growth. So the growth in the service robotics sector is increasing steadily, and 2020 it is predicted, it is almost, or sometimes service robots are going to exceed the requirements of industrial robots. So now we need to explore. So which segments, where are these robots required? Why these robots are required? What is the potential for India as a country to contribute, to make this or utilize this opportunity for manufacturing or for growth of our own products? So by 2025, the prediction is that $102.5 billion US, that is going to be this industry. I think it's a huge jump from 37 billion US of 2020. So probably some of you, if you are youngsters listening to this talk, you can think about starting your own industry, your own products and service robotics, and there's a big future lies for you all. Then what constitutes service robots? Service robots constitutes a lot of things like mobile robots, medical robots, underwater robots, drones, and whatnot, all put together. So I'll be limiting our discussion to a sector called medical robotics, which is expected to have about 16 billion US dollar market by 2023. 2018 it was 6.46 million. So that is again another big area where a lot of growth is going to happen. If you see some of the pictures here, we have anyway, I'll be explaining about each one, but some of the robots used in medical industry. So the term medical robots means a robot that is used for medical science. It may be for making medical products or pharmaceutical products or handling pharmaceutical products or helping a surgeon or helping a hospital administration system or directly dealing with a patient or managing a hospital space. So this all falls under the medical robotics sector. So I'll just give a brief explanation of each. Surgical robots are very popular now. I'm not sure how many of you have seen a surgical robot. There are a lot of YouTube videos available. You can go through that. I can recommend if you see the website of Da Vinci, they have one of the leading manufacturers and suppliers of surgical robots. They are used for laparoscopy, orthopedic, neurosurgical, and as catheters also they are used. So basically the surgical robots what you see in the medical field. Okay, by the by, I don't know how many of you know that around 55 surgical robots are already there in Indian hospitals. I'm from a place called Coimbatore. It's a very small city in Tamil Nadu. We have 2 hospitals in the city with surgical robots. So these robots assist the surgeon during his surgery. So I have been to the surgery. I have seen the surgery happening. We have, during the development of our trainer robot, we were in constant touch with the surgeons of the hospitals. So we were like putting together all the problems what they face and the solutions through surgical robots. See, if you see a surgeon, especially a very experienced surgeon, he is always accompanied by a team of assistants or surgeons. So a laparoscopic surgery normally will take 5 to 6 hours. So in a day, they can do 2 or 3 surgeries. But if you see the number of patients waiting for surgery, it goes maybe a waiting list for next 10 to 15 days. So it is actually a tough, unbearable condition for a patient to wait for the surgery to happen. Surgeries normally has to happen at the earliest because he needs immediate attention. So possibilities are increase the operation theaters, increase the number of doctors, but the skill of the senior surgeons, it requires a lot of experience to reach that level of skill. Instead, if the skill can be like multiplied, like through a machine, if you can increase this or his capabilities, that will be a much more easier task. So if you use surgical robots, instead of 3 to 4 surgeries, we'll be able to perform 6 to 7 surgeries per day. It is almost double. And what is the benefit for a patient? One, he doesn't have to be on the surgery table for long because these surgeries are much more faster. Well-trained surgeons, they don't have to go near the patient, especially during the COVID period. It is very important. The doctor will be sitting on a master console and he'll be moving the arms of the slave console and doing the surgery. So there will be only few nurses or one or two doctors near the patient. So the entire operation theaters will have only 4 to 5 people. That reduces the number of people on board, and the surgery is fast. A lot of imaging systems. You can zoom it and see. So the surgery happens with high precision, and every event, whatever happens on the table, is recorded. So the mistakes of a surgeon are very minimal, and something goes wrong. Now there are trained systems to alert the doctors that, say, doctor, you have not done this, or the stitches you have not done, or something else you kept inside the patient. So a lot of systems are there to give alarms. Everything is recorded, and we can estimate the time you took for the surgery, and that the patient also comes back to life, because these are all minimal, non-invasive surgeries, so we don't have to cut open the patient. They put only 2 holes and pass the surgical arm through that. So the healing time of the patient is much faster. He comes back to his life much more faster than a normal surgery. A lot of benefits by going for surgical robots. So that is why we see the number of robots in India even going very high for the benefit of the surgical applications. So if you see the another group, the surgical robots have like I'll say maybe about 55 plus robots in India. It will be 100 plus maybe in 1 or 2 years, because several hospitals are planning for that. Then the second segment is rehabilitation robots, physical people with physical disability, therapeutic, assistive, and exoskeletons. This is a big area, especially in countries like India, where we face a lot of physical disabilities during birth, after accidents, or due to some illness. People have to be brought back to the life or to the normal life. So employing or human beings using this is a little difficult, because we tend to lose our patience. You all would have experienced maybe when dealing with people on bed or people who are ailing, aged. So we have to be very patiently handle them, understand them, and we need to spend a lot of our time with them too for their complete recovery. So this kind of patience, the energy and time, I think maybe a little difficult for most of the people, especially people in their middle ages, those who are supposed to take care of the aged or the people with disability. So robotics has got a big scope. A lot of applications are coming up. Even for students with autism, there are robots. So any area you name it, uh, robots are coming there. And the another segment, we talked about surgical robots. So the doctors, this kind of surgical robots, you need to have some training. Like if you want to drive a car, you need to have experience, you need to have training, and you need to get a license. So similarly, for doing surgery using robots, you need to have training. And a doctor, normally a doctor, surgeon has to spend about 2 weeks or spells of two or three spells of 2 weeks each to be a master in using surgical robots. So a senior surgeon, so experienced, his time is so valuable, precious, moving away from the hospital for a training. That too, in India, we don't have any training available for using robots. So we may have to fly to China or US or Germany for getting trained. So the expenses for that, then he will be away from the hospital. So that's going to be a big, big money for any surgeon or for the hospital. But the endo trainers or the trainer robots almost gives you the same precision, same features, same facilities of a surgical robots, but they are not meant for doing surgery, because none of the certifications are required for this. So doctors on their free time, they can use these robots in their own hospitals or their own house and get trained on this. That is another big area of robotics. Then robo nurses, especially during COVID time now, like people, a lot of health workers are getting affected due to COVID. It is spreading through the this community. Their life is at risk. So instead of some of the jobs, we can use robots. Robots have already come. Then diagnostic chatbots are already there. We have seen some of the hospitals in India using this, like when a patient comes, this chatbot robots will collect the information, they can measure the temperatures, and they can give a lot of information to the doctors or to the team of people who are monitoring these patients. Then disinfection robots, disinfecting virus or bacteria in hospitals or any environment. It can be your home, it can be offices, it can be a shop floor. Then robots for pharmacy, pharmaceutical industries for making drugs, as well as for dispensing drugs, and nano robots. Like you have heard about uh, nano robots injected into your bloodstream to remove the heart block. So such robots are also there. So medical robots field itself is a big field. So starting from robotics, industrial robots, service robots, and medical robots, this itself is a huge area. So much of potential opportunities and uh, business is waiting here. Um, why we need robots in healthcare? Need for provide high service levels. See, any customer, when if you're a patient also, when you go to a hospital, you expect high levels of treatment, like in the sense how you are treated, the way you are welcomed, where the process of registration, to guidance, mentoring. So that is one area. Then these kind of robots, what we have listed in the previous slide, all these can reduce considerably the number of hospital staff, which will again give you a safer environment. Then these robots are efficient because it can work 24/7. You don't have to have people for 3 shifts. It can be all connected to Internet of Things or Industrial Internet of Things. So maybe a surgeon sitting at his home at night can check what happens to his patient who is there in the ward or ICU. So that increases the efficiency of the whole process. And the fundamental thing, we are in a stage where we have to maintain social distance, and robots can surely keep up to that. And that is going to be the new norms. We are going to see a lot of robots in all walks of life, especially in the hospital systems. Okay, coming to the surgical robots, I've got 2 pictures here. The left one is the Da Vinci. That is a different concept, and the right one is another concept. So the left one talks about, that is the most popular one. I think if you see the number of robots in the surgical field, they sell thousands of robots every year. So you can see the senior surgeon sitting on the main console, looking through a vision system where he'll be getting the images of where he has to do the surgery. So with he has his fingers can manipulate, and the slave arms will move there. So it is right now it is wired, but these things can happen on a teleoperation also. The doctor can sit in New York, and the patient can be in Coimbatore. So if you can make this wireless, then the whole thing can be at 2 different places. But if you see this configuration, this is inside a hospital operation theater. So he can see the other doctors also who are nearby the patient. But completely the patient is in the control of the senior surgeon. He knows what is happening inside. He can, the systems can in fact give the surgeon also some hints on what kind of procedure he has to adopt. But being a robot, you don't assume that the robot is doing the surgery. Basically, these robots are meant to assist the surgeon. Surgeon is the person who is in charge of the entire process. But using this machine, he makes the things very smooth, very accurate. If you we are all from the engineering field, but if you go to hospitals and check with doctors, they may admit sometimes that every day they make a lot of mistakes, not big mistakes, but sometimes small mistakes, because we are all human beings, whatever be the field. No, I'm not saying it happens only in medical field. Even in our own day-to-day life, we forget to do some things. We may not be perfect in whatever we do. So this happens in the job also. So but for a surgeon, when the surgery happens, that will have to pay a big price, because that is his life of the patient is in his hands. But again, the surgeon is also a human being. Chances that when you do 5 to 6 surgeries per day, possibilities of making errors, mistakes are human. So these machines will make sure that no such errors happen. These are very accurate. It can give you audio information. It can give you alerts. He can go back, replay what he or he did, and do some corrective action if some mistakes have happened. So that is one system which is very popular on the left-hand side. If you see the right-hand side, if you see the robots as like the similar configuration as industrial robots, but the end effector, instead of maybe a welding torch or a drill tool bit, these are all surgical knives or instruments used for surgery. So that is a 3 to 4 or 4 to 5 robots have to perform the surgeries. The doctor need not be very close to the robots. He can be away, or the robot can the surgeon also can be along with the robots. So his voice commands can be also taken in. So these two systems of surgical robots are currently available, but I think right now the most popular one is the one on the left, the Da Vinci concept. And this is going to increase, because the level of precision, safety, and the efficiency of the systems are much, much higher. Right now, if you go to a hospital and compare the cost of this, it may be slightly higher than a manual surgery, but as the number of cases are going to increase, I'm sure it is going to come down. So let's go to the next one. And this is a picture of this surgical trainer robot, what we have done. The man on the pink shirt is Dr. Ramalingam, who is a very senior urologist. He does robotic surgery, and he came for testing our system. So he found almost it is comparable to the real surgical robots, but still, a product which has come to a market for about 10 to 12 years of research, and another product which has done only 3 years of research. There is a big difference. But what I want to stress is here is this is another segment, this kind of trainer robots, because India can be a training hub for a lot of other countries, because if you see the medical tourism industry, like a lot of people come to India because the expenses for treatment or training in India are cheaper than in other countries. So this can be an attractive business. We can get a lot of people to India to get trained. So India can have our own training systems. Another product comes in the medical robotics industry is the rehabilitation robots. We need to invest a lot of time with people with disability, and it may be when he was born it was there, or through some accidents, or during the course of his life. So there are very effective robotic solutions that can patiently train or make them come back to life through uh, physiotherapeutic systems. So that gives you confidence because every day your progress can be recorded, like uh, from day 1 to the day 30th, what is the progress of this patient, and the patient himself can get a confidence on his progress. That is another big industry. And robotic nurses. The left picture is a picture of a robotic nurse or a robo nurse. This particular robo is made in Coimbatore by a student of our own branch. After graduation, he started his own company called Catamaran Robotics. This robot has been now doing trials in PSG hospitals. What this robot does is it travels between the ward and the nurse's rooms. So if something is required for a patient, this robot nurse can deliver those things, and it can be transferred to the patient. So it reduces the number of people, and especially the reduces the maybe the unused. The nurses can be better used for some other purpose. So instead of just to hand over something, a nurse need not have to travel. So robotic nurse is getting popular, and it, like you can see the right one, it can go collect the materials and hand it over to the patients, to the bedrooms or to the nurse. So this is basically a supportive robo, which finds a lot of application, especially post-COVID or during COVID time. I heard this company is getting a lot of requests. I heard they have shifted about 20 robots to Singapore. So the threat of COVID spreading through human beings can be greatly reduced when you use nurses, and the health workers' safety is also protected. Another is a diagnostic chatbot, which it's becoming very popular. The first time you go to a hospital with symptoms, maybe, or even without symptoms, you need to have a team of people to first understand you as a person, your details, then your requirements. So if you just take the scenario of a conventional hospital, you go to the reception first, then they will direct you to the registration. Then there is a process, you have to fill in a lot of forms, and after that you have to pay something, and then you will be directed to the OP. Then you have to wait for your doctor to call you. But this takes a lot of time. It is a tiring process, boring process, and especially during this period of COVID, we don't know the patient coming is with virus infection. So this chatbot is with thermal imaging cameras. So the moment you go in front of this chatbot, it measures your temperature, records it. If you are above, let us say 100 Fahrenheit, the set temperature, if you are in the safe zone, then you are immediately asked to give a lot of information and wait. If you are in a dangerous zone, it will alert the people, the doctors, that there is a patient waiting here with symptoms very similar to the pandemic. So other safety precautions can be immediately alerted, and he can be taken to the COVID ward. So this is getting popular. Another robotic product that will be there is going to be there in all the hospitals. Then the environment. Virus may spread through different means, through materials, through pillows, bed sheets, or even through people. So disinfection of this is very, very important. Though we use sanitizers or soap for that, other surfaces we cannot wash it. So there is a need for disinfection of the surface or the room. So ultraviolet disinfection has been proven as one good method of killing this virus. But again, if you have only a UV light source, somebody has to take the source and move around. Again, in an environment where virus threat is there, it is not safe for that particular person to move around with ultraviolet sources. So better thing is to employ a robo that can move around. It can be an autonomous robo, or it can be navigated by a joystick so that it can just go through the different rooms and disinfect the place. This can be employed for hospitals or house, whatever you want to do this, you can do this. There are also other possibilities, not only ultraviolet, maybe electric pulse-based one, but wherever you want to do the disinfection, it is not safe to employ humans. So this is another product that will be going to have a big business after this post-COVID scenario or during this post-COVID scenario. In the pharmaceutical industries, especially, you need a lot of hygiene in making tablets or medicine, handling this, packing this. So if you see any pharmaceutical industry, a lot of robots are used for the process, packing, testing, dispatching. And once it comes to the medical shops or even hospital medical shops, handling it, you know that when you go to a medical store, a lot of time is spent for the person to go and search, locate, take it, pack it, bill it. And again, the safety. The person who is going to get you the medicine may be having a virus infection, or when you pick it from a box, so 2-3 people are involved, chances of getting infected are much more. But if you see the right picture, here there is a medical storage system in a pharmacy where robots can go, identify the right medicine, pick it, and dispense it to the counter. Okay, so now coming to the whole crux of it. What is this? Huge potential, industrial robots, service robots, medical robots. Now, if I want to make one, if I want to start a business, if I want to do some research, what is that basic things we need to understand? So any robotic system is a simple replication of human beings. So the left picture is a human being. You know that what constitutes a human being. When you mechanically or when you fabricate something, we may not be able to do, say, similar DNA process, but we need to fabricate from materials. So all the systems that are available on a human system should be there in a robot. For easy understanding, I have shown a humanoid, but it can be any kind of a robot. Any robotic system consists of, as our human system, a controller, which is equivalent to the brain. Then we have actuators. Equivalent in our human system, we have bones and muscles. Then we have amplifiers or drives. So here we have your heart that pumps blood into the system. You get command from the controllers through nervous system. With the support of blood, we amplify it and supply it to the actuators. And whether the task has been completed, to know the surroundings, we need sensors. So humans, we are blessed with 5 Panchendriyams, 5 sensors. Maybe a robot needs more than that because a lot of actuators and a lot of individual segments, so that may require more number of sensors. So basically controllers, actuators, drives, and sensors. If you can put all these things integrate into a mechanical system, then you will be able to make a robot. Okay, easy said than done. Like controller then comes, what kind of a controller? When you learn about controllers, a lot of, again, like you can use a PC-based controller, you can use a microcontroller, you can use maybe a PLC-based controller, Arduino-based controller, you can use an open source, a PC with an open source controller. So some kind of a controller you have to choose according to the area of which area you are going to deploy the robot. A human being can be like, he can be a dance teacher, he can be a driver, he can be a diver, he can be a surgeon, a teacher. So humans can take different roles or different roles at different times. But basically the robots, what we see present generation robots, they are meant for one particular application. So normally if a robot is made for surgical application, they are supposed to continue the job of assisting a surgeon in surgery. Humanoids, maybe after, as you have seen in iRobots, by 2030 or so, in 2050, there may be robots that will be much more intelligent than human beings. We may see such kind of robots. Or an era where your boyfriend or girlfriend can be a humanoid. That possibilities are also there. So there are a lot of technology going into these systems. So controllers, drives, when you talk about the drives and the actuators, we need high precision in these systems. So kind of motors that can give you high torque, high accuracy, high positioning, agility, all control features, all this will narrow down to servo motors. Industrial grade AC servo motors that are maintenance free, can move around. And when you are using an AC servo motor, you require an AC servo drive. And whole thing is a digital system, so you require the entire communication between the various elements of the system in a digital platform. Like you can use various kinds of buses. And finally, all these buses should be linked to the Ethernet or the Ethercat. So you'll be able to remotely monitor and control these machines. Okay, so this constitutes a robotic system. Now, another experience I'll share is we thought of making some chatbots. Being a COVID period, since we have our own hospitals, we thought of making some chatbots and give to the hospital. But if I want to, that is the simplest robot for the medical field. So if you want to make a chatbot, you require a sensor that can measure the temperature of the patient. Also, it should be interactive. So also it should have a controller inside, a software inside. It should be able to recognize faces, data transfer, so communication platform, everything is required. Maybe the simplest one you can assume is a mobile phone with a thermal camera fixed on a pole kept in front of the hospital. How many of these components are manufactured in India? If you want to buy and assemble something, can you say? Nothing. If you want to buy a tab, we need to get it packed from China. If you need to buy a thermal imaging camera, it has to come from some other country. So if in the robotics industry, most of the components you see are currently being imported from other countries. So it is not just the scope of building a robot or developing a robot. Each and every component that can go inside a robot can be made in India. Recently, I'm sure you would have heard the announcement by the Prime Minister saying 50,000 crore of funds have been earmarked or will be dispensed to the Indian industries. They are going to start manufacturing electronics. Basically, all these components are electronics, and that can go into the robotic industry. So, guys, if you are thinking about want to make an our own indigenous, made in India or make in India robot, we need to go a long way. Each and every component. The basic thing, maybe if we can say that all these things are available, why do you have to reinvent the wheel again? It is very sensible, but we have seen if you are dependent on only one country as the world's manufacturing shop floor, then we are dependent. Nothing happens. The entire rest of the globe comes to a standstill. So it is a high time we should start making our own products. And we Indians are basically very good in writing algorithms. So if you see most of these robots working worldwide, whether it is a humanoid or an industrial robot, or a medical surgical robot, there are a lot of Indians working on the controller part. We can write beautiful algorithms to make these machines more sensible. And if you see the healthcare industry, not only just robotics, this is one industry that is going to see a big change, big transformation after or during this COVID period. Uh, Artificial intelligence has a lot of scope, especially in detection of diseases. Normally, we go to a hospital when you have some uneasiness, somewhere, some pain, or something happens to you, you can tolerate, and we go to a hospital. And the first meeting, the doctor asks you for a lot of information. I'll just go to the next slide and come back. Okay. So the conventional segment of medical products consist of equipments, hardwares, and consumables focused on historic and evidence-based care. So you use all these equipments, you use some consumables to treat you. So once it's like breakdown maintenance. Once you are down with a disease, you go to a hospital, then, and I'm sure if you have been to 2-3 hospitals for the same problem, the diagnosis may have some slight variations. It may be due to the genetic reasons, but still, the equipments, the hardware, the people who are doing the measurements, all matters. So basically, that was the traditional system of handling cases in hospitals. Now we have a lot of medical platforms. You can, while you walk, you can sense your heart rate, your how fast your eyes are blinking. So a lot of data which can be transferred from your body to a hospital system or a medical system, so where data is available. The next stage, what will you do with this data? Now, even the industry talks about Industry 4.0. This talks about large chunk of data coming to the servers or computers. What will you do with this data? As a human, we will not be able to look at all this data coming to the system because we may not have the time to understand and take decisions based on this data. So we need another solution, an intelligent system that can understand and take decisions, not just based on that momentary intake of data, but also based on the past data. So here comes the picture of artificial intelligence. So in hospitals also, when it is going to be AI-based treating systems or medical treatments, your entire history is there with the AI-based system. Your parents, your grandparents, what kind of hereditary diseases you are having, what kind of medicines you have been going through, your parents, and with that tracking, you can also do a trending. When you do the trending, you will be understand your father had diabetes at the age of 40. So with the current food habits and the stress levels you carry and the current situations worldwide, you may tend to have diabetes at the age of 30. It is not just a prediction, it is based on facts drawn from various sources from the past and from your day-to-day lifestyle. So that is going to be the post-COVID kind of healthcare. So early detection and diagnosis, making decisions. And since these are all connected, it is very easy when you are traveling or when you are away, you don't have to carry all your medical records because it will be available somewhere in the cloud. So any doctor who is following up the rest of your medical treatment, he will be able to understand you. So that AI-based system will be feeding him with what necessary treatment to be taken. Similarly, a lot of like your scan reports, your X-ray reports, All these things will be available for you for your future reference. And the treatments also, when a patient comes with this kind of a background, this kind of a disease, the AI-based systems can be trained. So normally what happens today is we in India, we are blessed with, or worldwide, we have blessed with a lot of experienced doctors, but their entire knowledge base just vanishes when they are not in the field or when they are not alive. How to capture this? Because these are valuable assets, and convert it as a beneficial product for the future generations. So AI can be trained. The entire knowledge base of the doctor can be transferred to a platform. So if this is the symptoms of patients coming to the AI-based systems, he can refer to some of this knowledge base, or the system can refer to the knowledge base of these doctors, and what this doctor would have prescribed when when a patient with such a illness or a disease comes to this stage. So those kinds of verifications can be done. Uh, Robotics for patient care, for robotics is a big field where yes, India, we are not that much affected because we still believe in the family system. So the children are supposed to take care of the parents, but in other countries it is not like that. So when you are, especially when you have a population that is much more aged than the youngsters, it is very difficult for the youngsters to take care of the aged or the uh, people with disability. So there are robots right now to engage them, to see them that they are having a happy life, to feed them or alert them for food and medicine at the right time. There are robots to talk, because there are some people that's like you just need to have somebody to listen. You don't have to do anything else. You want to talk to someone, but there is nobody else to listen. So robots are there, patiently listen, maybe acknowledge something, ask some questions, console you, or even give you a hug and whatnot. It's like a friend. So huge scope. Like you don't know like what is in store for us in this particular area. But one thing is sure, a lot of research is happening worldwide, and people need these products in the future. It, we as a country has to, I think, emerge now to start thinking in these lines and find solutions that can supply to the entire world. There are now, we would have seen some videos in the YouTube or maybe in WhatsApp group, like there are teachers replacing, robotic teachers replacing the real teachers. Looks interesting. Yes, because maybe up to the age of 5, you know that during COVID, children below 10 years are more prone to getting this virus, like people above 60 years. So if you want to have a live class where you don't have to have a teacher or very small group of children, or even you can have a robo at home, where robo can teach students with rhymes, with dances, with stories, and can explain in a big way, not just looking at a monitor like the online classes, but a physical robot that can make you listen, interact, and will see that you are understanding the concept and you are enjoying the session. So hope these things will get reality soon. Um, I think I'll wind up with this. I'll have some questions because our time is up to 3:30. It's another 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes away.
Yes,
So,
sir.
yeah. So thank you, Ahmad, for this opportunity.
Thank you, sir, as well. All the participants, any participants,
If there are some questions, and I would ask you to request you to see a lot of videos on the internet, very interesting applications of robotics in medical. Yeah, somebody has raised their hand. Shankar. Professor Ahmad, can you just read if you have any questions? I can also see, look at the chat. Oh, nothing. Okay. I think Dr. Manish, you are talking. You have to unmute.
I'm Shankar. Vinod, I've got a question.
Yeah, please.
Hello, can
Yeah,
you
yeah,
hear
please.
me?
Yes, sir. Yes.
How is artificial intelligence affect genomics in India?
It is.
Genomics.
Yeah, I understand, but I don't think it is going to affect anyway because that is another field.
It will change. It will change. You know, how does it going to change?
See, the way things right now are AI, are you going to talk about? I'm just concentrating on this medical part, sir. In
say biotechnology and bioinformatics is in the rise, correct?
Yeah, I understand.
So genomics is one area where, you know, now it is taking in a big way in India, but not in it's going in a very silent way. So that's why I just wanted to know how does it takes place in as far as artificial intelligence is concerned.
I'm not sure because I'm not an expert in genomics, but I can talk if you have something on robotics because maybe my daughter will be the right person. She's into biotechnology and genomics. She'll be able to help you.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Anyway, thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Vinod.
Further questions from any participants?
There is silent revolution happening in every field, sir, especially in biotechnology, gene therapy, DNA. So I think
yeah.
If you can understand the structure of the genes of your, then I think even the character of a person can be changed. Maybe future I can replicate. Maybe Dr. Manish can be replicated in another person. It may happen. We don't know.
Okay, thank you.
Actually,
why I asked you is this because I'm basically networks. I work in networks.
Okay.
But DNA, you know, in Switzerland and all, you know, they are working on DNA, networks in DNA. The complete networks is being made in DNA. That's why I asked you, how is this question arise because of that?
You mean the networks means I don't understand what kind of a network.
In intelligence network in DNA.
Oh, in neural networks.
Yeah, neural network in DNA actually.
Okay, in DNA, right? Okay.
That's why I asked you.
Maybe the human neural network system can be just replicated
in robots, artificial intelligence.
In robots, yes. Because currently we still depend on the industrial networking systems, serial communication systems.
Okay.
Various high-speed sensors plus power parallel transmissions are right now possible.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Vinod.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, sir. For a question from my end.
Yeah,
and Dr. Vinod, as I've seen that there are labs in colleges, and robotics have been included as a kind of add-on subject in many colleges. I've seen some of the wonderful setups you have at PSG. So how long do you see? But still, it's not available at almost every college, and it's not actually the technologies to learn robotics from the very grassroots levels. It's still not available at the educational level. So how long do you think it will take for it to be actually coming down to the grassroots level, and when we can have a hands-on on I've seen the setups of universal robots in PSG College of Technology. Yeah, that UV bots, commercial bots, cobots, I've seen all those setups, but it's just that it's not available at every place. But how long do you think it will take for all these things to come down to the educational level? And what benefits you see of them?
Yeah, I'll start with the universal robots itself. See, the cobots, what you see from universal robots are very accurate, highly flexible. It like even soft robots, like I've not touched upon that. When you go to surgical on a robotic surgery, soft robots are the new term. Like it's not the hard hand like arms of a robot, but like a human hand, it is very flexible. So technology is moving into that direction. But if you see all this technology, they have come from universities. Even this universal robot is a product from a university. Is the honor, one of the partner was from a university. So a lot of research happens in universities worldwide. But as you know, Indian universities, uh, we do a lot of basic research. But when it talks about coming out as a product, not much of real collaboration doesn't happen between Indian industries and universities. But it is slowly changing. But if you see as a product, like why colleges can't afford to have more robots, if one is the cost factor. If you want to have a 10 kg payload or a robo with 6 degrees of freedom, it may cost you somewhere around 20 to 25 lakh. So setting up a robotic lab is an expensive solution. And there are, yes, as you said, like you can see a lot of trainer robots, educational robots at less payload capacities, less degrees of freedom, less dexterity. That can be enough for a college to start understanding robots. Fundamentally, when you are understanding robot, the mechanism is very simple. It is not as complicated. It consists of manipulators, and manipulators consist of links and joints. So if you want to have 5 degrees of freedom, you should have 5 joints and 6 links. Links are made of metals or tubes or pipes, and joints are made of, again, materials with joints, mechanical joints. And to generate the required torque, along with servo motors, we may have to use harmonic gears or cycloidal gears. So that technology is already there. But how to program this, there lies the entire technology. So one should be familiar with the fundamentals, the mathematics, then the fundamentals of forward and inverse kinematics of robots, and how to program it. So once, I think, if you are very good in the dynamics, stability issues, and how to move on a space, I think, and now it has come to another stage. There are ready-made control solutions. There are manufacturers like a CNC controller. You can buy a robotic controller. You don't have to sit and write the entire control system. You have to just define the endpoints or the start point and end point. The path it will automatically generate based on the current position of the all 6 degrees of freedom. So it is emerging very fastly.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Any more questions for the participants? From any of the participants? Students, please, it's a once in a lifetime opportunity to interact in person with the person.
Being an afternoon session and it is on the second day, they would have slept off.
Not at all, sir.
No, don't disturb them. Hope they could understand what is happening in this field. I just want to give a feel of what is this medical robotics field and what is there in store for them. Like there's a huge potential, there is a huge field, especially electronics and communication students, for them to understand the mechanical and other kinematics of these robots are not that tough. So they'll be able to write the coding better than any other branch.
Yeah, Ankit, go on with the question.
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon, sir.
So actually, I am a student, not a sir. Sir, my question is to you. So if someone is want to start the journey towards the robotics field, so how can we kick-start our journey in the robotics field?
You started it this afternoon. Just now you started it. And now...
No, sir, it's like motivation according...
Sorry, some connectivity issue.
Yeah. And the students are into robotics, sir, but again, robotics to them is more like the development of a kind of a line follower robot. It kind of starts and ends there. So they are not into these commercial bots, but yes, and this is what the industry is actually using nowadays. So they just need to go beyond the playgroup kind of robotics. Yeah, Ankit, go on.
So I think Ankit is standing in front of a big ocean and you're just walking through the shore. You
Yeah, exactly.
take your ship and start sailing.
Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Yeah.
Sir, okay, my question is according to technology, sir,
Yeah.
because we are living at Bhopal, like city,
Okay.
so where we can't have too much facility to kickstart our life according to the technology used in the robotics field. Because sir, I started my journey in the robotics field since 11th class,
Okay.
but due to my less network field, less reach, I can't start my journey with the more affordable like. So that's why I asked question to you. How can I kickstart my journey in a proper way?
Yeah, maybe this doubt would have been meaningful a few years back, but right now you see scenario is different. You can talk to any expert, you can listen to any expert. If you have a very good connectivity, if you have a net connection, if you have a smartphone, if you have a computer at home, you can do wonders sitting in any part of the world. So you can create a virtual lab, you can network, talk. There are a lot of robotics forums, a lot of LinkedIn groups, a lot of WhatsApp groups. So you need to get into the right network. So that is why, see, when you start interacting, if all your friends are into robotics, you will also sail along with them, no? When all your friends are into drinks and party, then you will be also following them, right? I'm not saying you should not be doing all those things, but you see your major area of interest, when you think about only one thing, I think there are ample opportunities right now. It is irrespective whether you are in a village, you are in a metro, or you are in a remotest island. That doesn't make sense, because you need only an internet connection and a good system to start working. There are a lot of free training programs. There are a lot of courses offered through Coursera or our own government systems. Start learning one by one.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much.
There are a lot of funding possibilities. You would have heard about during the COVID, Government of India has sanctioned thousands of crores for startups, for people. If you have a good idea, then submit a proposal. Proposal doesn't mean that it is a 35-page or 100-page document. You require to fill only 3 to 4 pages. You are supposed to get around 1 crore with that funding, right? Because I was a member of a scrutiny board recently for a funding opportunity, so I could see people sitting in different parts of India. Like, I not even heard about those village names. There were applications from such places, very, very meaningful applications. So you have to just keep thinking, talk to people. If you are, you can also keep sending me some mails or some messages. We will talk.
Hello.
Yeah,
Good
hi.
afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
Yeah.
Sir, my name Ajal. I am from third year. Sir, I have a question.
Yeah.
Can surgery robotic systems become completely autonomous? What would you say about this?
That is like humanoids. Like right now it is robo-assisted, but a stage will come when AI becomes more and more matured. Robots, you have to just lie on the robot table. The surgery table. The robot will do the required surgery. A day will come, probably.
Sir, completely autonomous, like they will think
Completely
and
autonomous. Like you have going to have completely autonomous cars. No, you don't require a driver, or you don't have to self-drive. You are going to have completely autonomous cars soon. You have seen the Tesla cars, no?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Or other brands also. There are completely driverless cars now. Similarly, robots, a stage will come, robots can do the entire surgery autonomously.
Okay, sir. So thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah. Any further questions from any of the participants?
I can read one question
Hello?
Vaishali here, given the current economic status, how long will it take for hospitals to invest in medical robots, train personnel and bring it to practical use? As researchers, how can we contribute to it? Current economic status. Okay, economic status. See, there are, after this COVID, there are some industries which are flourishing in a big way. There are some industries that are not doing good. But of course, if you consider hospital as an industry, it is going to be flourishing, a lot of cases and a lot of surgeries, a lot of people with disabilities. So it is going to be an industry where a lot of robotic surgery going to happen. Basically, again, advantages, as I told earlier, it will reduce the number of people involved on the operation theater. So people will always prefer that. And research, though, as there was a previous question, a girl was asking about autonomous robots for surgery. Yes. So we have not reached that stage. We are still robots assisting surgeons. So huge scope for research. So I think it is the right time you should start looking into this direction. Another question from Hemamala. I have a question too. With robotics in medicine, would there not be consequences in replacing humans with machines, especially privacy issues? I think privacy issues, robots are much more safe, no? Yes, robots are, they are empathetic. We can have settings for, okay, she's asking whether the data goes to public. It is like your Android phone, like whatever you take a picture, Google will remind you with this picture next year. It was taken last year. So once it is into a cloud system or under the something, all this information are publicly available, but need not be always to be shared with the public. It will be in a domain where maybe the hospital can retrieve it, or maybe the patient will be able to retrieve it, or the doctor will be able to see it. So it is not going to be completely public, but it is in a domain which is public. That is the advantage with that is another doctor can retrieve this information anywhere in the world when you go to that doctor for a treatment. How safe would I feel as a patient without my human doctor? You will be much more comfortable, safe, happy. You can hold his fingers. He can give a better smile than a human doctor, I guess. Okay. So then another question. Yeah, you please, madam.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah.
So in robotics, so while creating a robot or designing a robot, where does the main competition comes in? That means we have to concentrate more on the coding part or the electronics part?
You have to concentrate more on the
coding or the electronics?
No, see, you are going to be a complete robot designer, or you are going to take only one part of the work?
So while designing the whole process within a team. So within what do we more concentrate on?
Yeah, you will have a role. So if your role is going to be a coding, and if you're good in coding, you will be concentrating on the coding. So basically go for the field that excites you. If you are good in electronics, I think to be a lot of bots to be designed, tested, evaluated, and it can be refined because newer and newer products are coming to the market, new sensors, new controllers. So the skill in designing electronic circuits, you need to keep on like learning it every day. Very interesting field. So, but basically the choice is yours. It can be, because there is huge scope for coding. There is coding, it's basically logical one. So your coding need not be the same as the other person's, but basically the robot should be able to perform in a sensible way. Okay, then job opportunities in electronic engineering. Yes, robotics is more of electronics. And if you see the mechanical structure, now if you go to GraphCAD or some other softwares available, you can just pull in and drag them and make your own robots. So designing a mechanical system It's not that tough, but you need to have a good sense of doing the analysis part of that. Another question, can our thoughts be captured and transferred wirelessly for action into a robot? Is there any current development? That is going to be very interesting. Capture your thoughts and transfer to a robot.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, possible. You start doing that. Nothing is impossible, no? See, when Isaac Asimov started writing the science fiction novels in 1930s and 40s, he never thought this will be a possibility. Or robots can serve as police officers, robots can go to the defense field, robots can land in Mars. All these were some dreams, like in James Bond movies. So once you start dreaming, it is possible. What are the
Any more
chances of
questions?
it? One more I can read. Chances of it to be hacked. Yes, possibilities. Now, actually, if you see the drones, drone hacking has happened, is happening. People are hacking drones. So when you fly your drone, somebody is hijacking the drones or hacking the drones and taking it away. So there should be, that is another field of research, how to prevent hacking, like in computers. When you are talking to someone, your phone is hacked or your system is hacked. So when you are into an open platform connected to a cloud, where the others can see, and if you are so good in hacking, you will be hacked. The industrial safety levels, that is why if you have, even though we have industry 4.0, there are safety issues. There are companies now trying to hack another company's data through internet, or even take control of their machines. Even this can happen to autonomous cars. When you believe the car will take you to your home, somebody can hack your car and take you to some other place. All these are possibilities, but of course, we have to think about the solutions. Future role of humanoids. Watch iRobo.
Straight out of a sci-fi movie.
Yeah. What happens if they hijack the operation? Oh, medical operation. Okay, so normally when the surgical robots, you have a facility of, you can be a localized one. You don't have to be always in a cloud to do the surgery unless it is a teleoperation. So in a scenario where the doctor sits in somewhere and the slave unit is in somewhere, possibilities are there. But still, current Da Vinci robots, you see, mostly it happens on a hospital in a very localized environment. So chances, and again, it is assisted. It is only assisting. See, the entire control is the surgeon. It is not the robot is doing the surgery.
So just a sign out question.
Yeah.
Because so many people have joined in, and some of the students have joined in from the first year as well. They are at the initial stages of their engineering. So if I ask if somebody wants to venture out and is the one who wants to start today itself, so what should be the first step as a student he should be taking to venture out in this industry?
My submission to students is that, see, even I have some students in robotics who would like to immediately start an industry, but everything, the experience teaches you something different, because this is a business. Business means making money, and making money in a very ethical way and in a field which is very, very technologically advanced requires a lot of understanding the systems, people, networking. So those who have started directly straight away from the colleges have, especially with those who were not having any economic backup, like if your dad doesn't have an industry of his own or does not have a established setup, it will be a little tough initially to manage. I have seen several cases winding up after some time because their expectations are different, the reality is different. So better thing is start working in a robotic company or an area which is very close to robotics as a researcher, or do your masters, go abroad, work in some companies like iRobots or a lot of companies. There are, to my knowledge, about 70, 75 institutions in US doing masters in robotics. Similarly, with other areas of globe, Europe, Australia. So better to do a master's in such countries where you are exposed to the latest technologies. Then you come back, then you start working on a product. You will also see a lot of new products when you travel. So
Right.
travel, I know this period is not the right period to travel, but you start doing some courses, interact, think about this, think about the real need. You don't have to even hijack somebody's idea. You just on a day-to-day basis, what your
Right.
the milkman needs for his to keep safe distance or something. You just think about the practical applications, try to develop, and potential is there. Only thing is we are not aware about what is available around us, and we need to have such platforms for that. Maybe the students of your community, you can have a group, a robotic club, so that you can periodically interact with people in this field. They will give you beautiful ideas. We have a club in PSG where a lot of students interested in working on robots are a part, irrespective of which branch, not only from the robotics and automation engineering discipline, but all from other branches as well. So they sit together, they try to get some solutions. They learn new techniques, new courses. There are some faculty who are mentoring them. There are also platforms. I'm also mentoring some groups of youngsters who have passed out and trying to set up robotic industries. Um, so it needs a lot of teamwork. So don't have the fear. Just come out of the fear and have a great product in your mind. Start working, learning.
Right, sir. And with these wise words, sir, we certainly we already have a robotics division. But again, as I've told you, sir, education in this part of the world is more of a kind of uh, hobby robotics rather than putting it to some kind of commercial
Excuse me,
use.
I got one more question. I will also read that. Vidushi
Sure,
Singh,
sure, sir.
she says, maybe is it possible to overpower human by humanoid? That is, she's referring to the movie. It is
Yeah,
possible, it may be possible, but the fundamental laws of robots says that it should not happen. So the robots should never harm a human being. Hope all the robotic industries will follow that, but there are cases where we have to differ from this, right? Like when you use in a defense or for warfare, there we have
right.
to violate these norms because we have to kill your enemy. So when you
Absolutely.
are like focusing on a terrorist operation, when you are going for war with your enemy, that stage, I think we should not be able to follow that.
Yeah, absolutely right. So we're coming down to the end of this session. It has been a wonderful and a very informative session,
Oh, thank you, sir.
as was expected. To hear from a person as knowledgeable as Dr. Vinod and a person who's that much experience in this particular field. Sir, you have opened up new avenues for us in terms of knowing this field, in terms of our interest in this field. And we thank you from the bottom of our heart for this. And like on behalf of all the participants, also, I would like to thank you for this. I'd like to thank all the participants who have joined in from different parts of the country for this wonderful session. And we certainly look forward to having more interactions from Sir in the future as well. And as and when the situations get better, the situations resume,
Okay.
we would even love to have an opportunity of having him in person here in our campus
Okay.
for a session like this. So thank you so very much for this wonderful session, sir. Thank you very much for all the wonderful
So
information.
give a minute for me also to thank. I should thank you first, your entire team, your EC department, maybe the management of Oriental group of institutions, and the team of organizers of the Infocus. This is
Thank you
actually a
very much.
wonderful initiative because see, learning should happen where it is irrespective of where you stay, whether you are in lockdown or you are in quarantine. It should be everyday business. So it's a wonderful opportunity what you have provided for youngsters of your institution, as well as I know some of my students and my colleagues, my friends, they have joined in. I think my daughter also joined. So it's a wonderful opportunity to see all of you listening to me for, I would say, not that interesting 1.5 hours of lecture and introduction to robotics, but medical robots. But the objective was to give you some insights, like some questions, how to start, how is this business, what is the potential in this field, whether it is just a science fiction or is it very close to the places we stay. So that is my intention. I think something I could do that. And I thank everyone, again, 100 plus participants. Thank you all for patiently listening and to be with me for the last 1.5 hours. Thank you, sir. Maybe in future, as you said, a possibility happens, I would also love to visit your institution. I have been to Bhopal, so we'll like to do it again. And I also invite you and your faculty members or students to PSG. We have about 10 different laboratories in robotics. So we have labs with Fanuc, we have labs with Adept. We have other robots with like Universal, ABB. Most of the robots we have. We also have some Indian robots. So we have also developed 3 robots, PSG's own robots. So we are also planning to launch these robots, 2 segments. One is for education sector, which is a 2 kg payload. And we are also planning a series of products for the youngsters to kindle their interest in robotics. And another is a 10 kg payload for the industry. So hope these things will come and will be helpful to all of us. Thank you.
It will be a privilege for us to visit your campus, sir, because we feel that PSG is one of those colleges and that should actually be the case, that a research institute should be driving an industry, rather an industry being the one who's driving the actual academic research institute. And PSG is certainly one of those institutes who's actually driving the technology of the industry. And it's because of people like you over there, sir. So it was a great learning experience to hear from you in person, and we look forward from some help in the future as well from your end. Thank you so very much again, sir, for all the sessions.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you again, all the participants. Have a good day. Stay home and stay safe.